third graders, one of our first steps for our story quilt is to draw a person. And so if you look at the directions, part of our goals for the story quilt is to draw a person in proportion, which means to draw it the right size so they don't have really short arms or really short legs. And then you're going to think of a memory or a future dream and draw yourself in that scene or flying over it. You're going to include at least one famous work of art in your drawing and then color or paint it carefully. So if I look at this and I look at the size of the head, when we think about people, like actually third grade students, they are 6 heads high, which means if I measure with the head 1, 2, 3 heads to the waist, and then 1, 2, 3 heads from the waist to the feet. So the waist to the head should be the same size as the waist to the feet. That's why I gave you some little guidelines here. So if I was going to be drawing a person and I said they're going to be this tall, the head will be here, the feet will be here, I can figure out where is the middle, and that is where the waist should be. So over here, you're basically going to look at those ovals, and we're going to draw really simple shapes for a person. Your shoulders are wider than your head, so when you draw this oval, it should be wider than the head. A person is actually 3 heads wide. Then you're going to draw a great big oval to represent your belly and your lungs and all of your basic body. Here, the hips are going to be an oval going this way. And then from your waist to your feet, your knees are going to be somewhere about halfway. So then if I draw an oval, hip to knee, knee to ankle, and then our feet are going to be kind of just off to the side. And then hip to knee, knee to ankle. Oh my goodness. And feet going off to the side. And then if we look over here, we're going to show we've got 2 parts to the top of the arm as well. So I will draw shoulder to elbow, and you can look at yourself and kind of feel where does your elbow kind of dig into your side, and look and see how long are your arms, because I think people are kind of surprised how long their arms are. Elbow to wrist, and then for your hand, that we're just doing a small oval. And here we go. What's cool about drawing this way is it's really easy to position your person in different motions. So you might be doing lots of different things in your story quilt. The reason I've got these 2 examples is so that we can practice putting those ovals in different shapes. So if I'm drawing the soccer player, I notice that his head overlaps his shoulders because he's kind of looking down. So some of these ovals will switch over time. I see just a little bit of the neck. Then we've got his body, the hips. And then when I'm drawing a person in action, I actually start with a stick figure. And so like for the legs, and I'm noticing right away that those legs are too small for that body. If I'm thinking, is this the same? So I'm going to make that just even a little bit longer before I do all the extra work of turning in more ovals. So now I'm going to add my ovals, and the foot is this way. Here we go. Then I can draw the soccer ball, and then I see these arms. This one's kind of hiding behind. I can do the same thing. Draw those. So I've got my basic, I feel like that head needs to be a little bigger. My basic shape of the body, and then I can start adding details like putting on the sides of his shirt. And of course the clothing would be slightly larger than the shape of my ovals. Here's another one to try. So if I'm looking at this one, now look at how her arms stretch way above her head. And this is always interesting too, to look in a mirror and see how high up do my arms reach. So if I put the oval, and then we see the neck, shoulders, body, hips, and then I'm going to do the same thing, and I see that her elbows go up to the top of her head. I need to make that even taller, don't I? So her elbows, and then her hands. Okay, and then this leg goes straight down, and then this one bends out and kind comes back to the knee. So if you're happy with how your stick figure started, then you can start building in those ovals. This is great practice, and then as you think about what you want your person to do, you can kind of start the same way with starting out with a simple sketch and then creating, building up the body with ovals. Let me see this. So then I can kind of smooth this out to make it look even more realistic. So sometimes with these hands, if you just have a kind of a mitten, that works too. That looks too big. Don't worry if you have to erase. We all do sometimes. Okay, but we can, keep it kind of simple. If you have things like as we're drawing our final, making the wrist go in a little bit smaller, and here from going into the knee and going into the ankle, those ovals might go in a little smaller. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing your sketches in Seesaw.